middle schoolers， 同学们，请你坐在前排，除了第一排不坐，第一排呢是给发问的同学。OK， 快点啊！卢老师，他们也可以坐在那边，因为后面差不多了。OK， 同学们 ，please make your way to the front seat, please. 有问题发问的同学，请你坐在第一排。蒋老师，蒋老师，他们有问题的同学坐在第一排，是不是？
先到前面等他来。现在我们班的话就坐在这里边，应该可以。
OK， 那你叫他们有问题的同学坐在第一排发问呢？
他们每个人都可以提问。
OK， 然后我就省了时间把这个麦克风
那现在不能换了耶，他们在中间。
OK， 没问题，那我就给这个麦他们吧。好，同学们，我们快要开始喽，请你快点坐好。Okay, we are about to start in 1 minute. Please come to sit in the front. OK， 5、4、3、2、1。哦， It seems like go back to the elementary, right? OK， 同学们，我今天不用讲英文了，是不是？是，就不用讲英文了。OK， 大家好，我是简老师。有些同学在归问的时候，我叫过他，是不是？哇，今天已经初中了。好，同学们，今天呢，我们很开心 ，I'm very excited， 请到一个非常年轻的作者。通常我们看到一些中国的作者呢，都是很老的，是不是？你们去图书馆看的那些书呢，都是老作者。但是我们今天那个作者呢，是非常非常年轻。等一下呢，他会跟大家讲一下他的一些学习的经历啊，或者说他在外国的一些生活。那大家都看过他的海报 poster。哦，现在有同学要发言了。Thank you。那因为现在呢的时间不是很多，那我就把时间就不介绍他了，因为他的 poster 大家都看过，他的文章你们也读过，功课也做过，所以呢，我现在就请我们期待很久的一位年轻的作者 Tommy Kwan 亚然来跟大家分享。对 ，Let's welcome Tommy.
Okay, so it's very nice to see all of you. I'm Tommy, and I know that around the school, you see the posters, and it's a little bit embarrassing to know that. And I'm not sure if you think the Tommy on the poster and the real Tommy in front of you are there a big discrepancy, but anyway, I hope there's not. So today I would like to talk about my writing journey, and I would say this is the first time I was being invited as a writer to come to do the sharing. And but actually I don't know, what do you think of like writing, writer? Do you hate that? Do you hate reading? I'm not sure, but I would like to talk about that. Let me find a pointer first. Okay, so today I will first talk about why I write, and then secondly I will talk about how I write. And then I know that there are quite a number of questions. I will leave some time for that. So what do you first think about writer? I'm not sure which kind of image are you in your mind. I guess most of you know the left-hand side, George R. R. Martin. Maybe some of you are the friends of the Game of Thrones. And the right-hand side would be the traditional Chinese writer, just being mentioned by Polly as well. But obviously, I'm not one of them. So I'm a writer, and I write frequently. So why I start writing, and I will start by talking about not long ago, maybe 9 to 10 years ago. Because in the title of my talk, you can see that it's a writer who failed his composition assignments. And like most of you, or maybe just me, I don't know, when I was in school, more traditional Hong Kong school, I always failed my composition assignments, no matter they're in Chinese or English. So why a student who failed his composition assignments would turn out standing here as a writer is quite I don't know, it's quite contradictory, right? So not long ago, I don't know if you know this incident, but it happens like more than 10 years ago. By that time in China, there is the problem of the food scandal in baby formula. And in this kind of poisoned baby formula, after the babies drinking the milk, they will have some health problem, and it's all because there are some chemicals inside the baby formula. And at the end, the baby will have the problem of a very big head as a result. And by that time, what's the relationship between the poisoned baby formula and me being as a writer? By that time, there was such a news, and the incident was about some victims, some parents, they go on protest to talk about, to protest against these kinds of poisoned baby formula. And then at the end, it's not the manufacturers that are being prosecuted, but those parents who voice out their protest being prosecuted because they are disturbing the society. And then when 9 years ago, I was finishing school, and then in my way back home, I was taking a train. And you know that when you take the train, you will see the news playing on the train. And by that time, I see the train, they talk about, they report the news, and they talk about the parents that are being prosecuted. And by that time, when I was a little kid, just 16 years ago, I was very furious. How could that happen, right? Why the victims would be prosecuted, but not the manufacturer, not the people who made the poisoned baby formula. And then by that time, I was very angry, and then I just got no reason why, but by that time, I wrote an article, like 400 to 500 words, very short one. And then I wrote to the newspaper. Because in the newspaper, you can see this is a full page of the newspaper, and on the bottom right corner, you can see there are some little words, and it's like this. I don't know if you can read them, but I guess you can, but it's about we can contribute articles to the newspaper, but you never know if your works would be published, but at least this is a way. And I learned about this way when I was very young. My dad told me about that, like I think he succeeded in doing that when he was young. So in my mind, I always know there is such a way to express my will. And then by that time, when I was just a 17 years old student, I first wrote to the newspaper. And then half a year later, I received a letter in my mailbox, not email, but real mailbox from the newspaper Ming Pao. And by that time, they asked me to provide my bank account because they told me that the article was published half a year ago. And then that was the first time that I realized that writing can earn me money. And of course, money is one thing, and the other thing would be being recognized. Because in the past, when I write, I always failed. Teachers always just give me 5 out of 10 or 4 out of 10, and I would say it's very frustrating, especially when they would post the works, my classmates' works on the board and praise them how good they write, but mine is like 4 out of 10 all the time. But on one hand, I got 4 out of 10 in my assignments, but on the other hand, I'm writing for the newspaper. I was writing for the newspaper. So to me, it's a very big recognition and also a very big, a drive for me to keep on writing. So since when I was a secondary 6 student, from then I just keep on writing, and until now I'm a columnist on Chinese newspaper. So in that journey, when I was just a secondary school student, and then I do my undergraduate, and now I'm a postgraduate student, I just keep on writing. I keep on sending my articles to different kinds of newspapers in Hong Kong, and even the top middle one would be the articles that I wrote for Shenzhen newspaper. So that was my journey of writing. So why I start writing is all about politics, all about writing about my anger towards some, I would say, unjust news. But how I write, I would say that there were 2 ways of writing, or 2 very important inputs for me. The first input would be keep on reading. I think that reading is I know Mrs. Ken or Polly would talk about a lot about how good reading is, but to me, reading is like the hashtag functions on Instagram. I don't know, of course, all of you are Instagram users. Just make an example. If you like Shiba, the dog, and then you will make the Shiba hashtag on Instagram. But what's the real function of the hashtag? It's all about when you search the hashtag Shiba, and then you would search a lot of Shiba, different kinds of Shibas, or the yellow one, the black one, the big one, small one. And then you will see a lot of them. And the hashtag functions would be giving you a way to keep on reading similar things. And reading is just the same thing. When you read one book, you would just, from that book, you will know how, which the second book it is. And you can keep on reading it by just maybe one single topic that you are interested. And I think that journey is a really exciting one when you keep on reading and when you just click the Shiba hashtag and you will know more about Shiba. And reading is more a traditional way, but I would say is much more informative than just Instagram. And then the second input, I would maybe talk about that more because it's more about stories. I know some of you or most of you have to read. I hope you enjoy that, but read some of my articles. And you know that my articles are not really, not fictions, they're just my sharing of my life, being a student in Taiwan, in UK, or even in Hong Kong. And to me, daily life experience is a very important input in my writings, because if you can imagine that I'm a columnist and I have to write every week on newspaper, and when you have to write on newspaper, you have to think of what to write. So what to write every week, it would be just my daily life experience. But what is it about daily life experience? I just take the examples. I'll just take 2 examples. The first one would be the story of ramen. I don't know if any one of you are the fans of ramen. I am. Yeah, most of you. The do you know what, I think you can see that, but this ramen is comes from the very famous Japanese restaurants. They are also opening in Hong Kong as well. The Ichiran, Yilan ramen. And I don't know if you enjoy that, but I'm not sure if you realize that ramen, a very traditional, authentic Japanese food, actually they're coming from China. They're the Chinese cuisine. And it's all about, I like ramen, and then I would read books about ramen. And they talk about that ramen is actually coming from China. But okay, so ramen is coming from China, but what is it about the restaurant, and what is it about that music instruments over there? I know some of you are, maybe, I mean, in your daily school, in these time slots, you will go to the orchestra or band training, but I'm not sure if you know these instruments. It is the traditional Chinese instruments. And I don't know if you have the experience of having ramen in these restaurants. When you want extra noodles, you will press the button to ask the staff to come. And when you press that button, there will be some music playing on in this Yilan ramen. And then by the time when you press the button, the music that's being played is played by these instruments. And this is a very traditional Chinese instrument called shona. It's also their English names. I know it's strange. But, and you can see that when it was like 100 years ago or many years ago, those ramen stores are not restaurants nowadays. They're just the food stores. So by that time, when the shop owners, they want to let people know they are selling ramens, they would play these instruments so that the whole streets can hear the music. And that's why even now you go to the restaurants, you want to have extra noodles, you press the button and they will just play these traditional musics to resonate with their history. So the examples of this ramen experience was just about everything in our daily life. There would be stories behind that. And what can we do to know about the stories? Maybe Googling it is one way, but to me, reading is another way. And then the other experience would be like in a concert hall. This is like a theater, or you can say that this is a concert hall as well. In this photo, you can see that there's a broccoli over there. And also the other thing, very strange, would be the camera. So what to do with concert halls or concert experience with broccoli and camera? The broccoli would be I like to go concerts a lot when I was in UK because there are lots of concerts happening. And then one time when I was attending the concerts, there is a British woman sitting in front of me. And then she is a like very traditional British old lady. So her hairstyle is just curly hair and a very fluffy one. And then she was sitting in front of me, and I am quite tall, right? But I don't know, maybe the design of the concert hall is not very well. The row in front of me is not really a lot shorter. So her hair is actually like the sound absorbing the form. So her hair just, quite disturbing when I was trying to focus on the stage. And the second thing is that the old lady, she was very enjoying, she enjoyed the concerts a lot. So her head kept swaying a little bit to follow the tempo of the piece. So by that time, I was really frustrating, and at the end, in halftime, I have to move to another seat because I feel a little bit dizzy when you have a broccoli-like head swinging in front of you for like an hour. But this kind of experience, I always include these kinds of stories in my writings because I talk about my life when I was a student in UK, and I talk about everything I did over there. And that was one story. And I will talk about the last stories to leave some time for Q&A. The other stories would be the camera. And you know that in those classical music concerts, there would be the big orchestra, and sometimes maybe some piece they will have the choral sections as well. And in those choral sections, maybe some of the choir members, they're students like you, they're children. They need the sound of children. So many children would be the choir members in their classical concerts. So when they're just like, you can imagine if you are on stage, most of the time your parents or your friends will be down the stage. And then some of the parents, or most of the parents, they're very into their children performance. And then it's very hard for them to restrain from taking photos, you know, for like 2 hours when they see their young kids on stage. But one time when I was having concerts and a parent sitting in front of me, I know that they're really trying very hard to restrain themselves. But at one point they really can't restrain anymore, and then it's near the end of the concert, like the last few notes of the piece. And then the mother sitting in front of me, she took out her phone, and then she just clicked and took the photo. It's all right if you took a photo without a sound, but the problem is the shutter the fake shutter sound of her phone was not being turned off. And when she took that first photo at the last note of the concert, and you know, they built up the atmosphere of that song, and then clap, and then she took the photo. And those are very funny experience to me, and I whenever you encounter them, you just want to share about it with others, and writing is my way to share it. And yeah, those are some small stories, and I hope you enjoy that. And if you enjoy that, I include lots of similar stories in my book as well. And I will leave some time for questions, I think, because I know that there will be a number of them. And I think, I will hold the Q&A as well.
Thank you, Tommy, for his sharing. Are there any questions to ask? Because I receive a lot of questions from your teacher. Don't be shy. 有没有问题？你举手，我就把这个麦给你。你可以问英文。You can ask in English.
Yeah, you know, when I was flying back yesterday, I just came back. I was flying from Germany yesterday. And I know that beforehand, Mrs. Polly told me that there are lots of questions. And during the whole flight, like 10, 15 hours, I just keep on thinking about those questions. So I'm really looking forward to answering them.
Questions? Raise your hand, and then I'll pass you the mic. I see many hands, but is it the one who want to ask the question? 有没有? Okay, yes, Mrs. Hall.
It's a collection of essays. Most of the essays I wrote on newspaper, and the main theme would be me being as a foreign student in UK, because I would tell a little bit more of my background. As you can see, the first page, I was introducing myself as a PhD candidate. So what a PhD candidate is, which means that I'm no difference to all of you, I'm just a student. But I was doing my PhD, I'm doing my doctorate degree in UK. I'm researching on Taiwan politics, and I'm a Hong Kong people, but I do the research in UK, and now I'm residing in Germany to do my research. And the books would be about my life in Taiwan, in UK, and in Hong Kong. So those are those little stories like what I just shared. Yeah, most of them are stories.
Yes, question, good. 你要一个老人家跑到第4层。
我比较年轻，年轻的老师，我永远的18岁，是不是？
Can you tell us about your love of char siu?
Yeah, I know that like you have read 4 articles and one would be about the BBQ pork. And actually in that book, there is a photo included, and I was writing that because of the photos. I think the photo was taken really well by me. That time when I was in Japan, and I went to Japan quite often. I go there quite often because one of my very close friend is working over there. And when I was in Tokyo, and then they have some food stores, food trucks, I would say, in Shibuya, in those business area. And then the truck was, before I saw the food truck, I got the smell of BBQ pork first. And then it's quite you know, that time I was not going to Japan from Hong Kong, but from UK, I think. And then, you know, in London, you can still have BBQ pork, but not really authentic, or it's quite expensive as well. Anyway, you won't have BBQ pork as often in Hong Kong as in London as in Hong Kong. So I was going to Japan from London, so you can imagine that the background, I mean, the conditions of me would be like long time without char siu. And then when I was in Japan, and then I got the smell of char siu first, and then I saw the food truck. There was a Japanese guy on the food truck doing the char siu in a very authentic, traditional way, using those big stoves and doing the BBQ. And then he wrote some introductions, like that little posters over there, like next to his trunk, but of course in Japanese, but my friend just translates for me. The stories would be like about he learned about making BBQ pork in Hong Kong a few years before he opened his food truck. And then at the end, the BBQ pork was delicious. And I think his story is a little bit, I mean, just resemble with mine, like going to some foreign places, learning something that away from home, and then at the end he made his business. He continued his career making BBQ pork back in Japan, just like I do my research in UK. But I hope that one day I will be back in Hong Kong and to continue my research work.
What are your thoughts on Chelsea?
You mean which one? Obviously not a very good experience, I would say. Yeah. Because you read about you, we will know that I'm a football fan, and I always joke about why I go to London for studies, because people always ask me, you do Taiwan politics or you do Hong Kong politics, why go to UK, right? But even you go to UK, why go to London? I always tell them it's all because of Arsenal, and you know Arsenal is located in north part of London, and that's the main reason why I go to London for studies, just because I can go to the Emirates stadiums weeks after weeks. And of course, you asked about the match, I would say we will try again next year.
Are your parents also writers? Yeah. Are your parents also writers?
No, they are not. Just like my parents are not very tall as well, but I'm quite tall. And they are not writers, but I'm a writer. Yeah.
好了，有问题这边有问题的同学，请问。
What is your opinion on Liverpool winning the UEFA Champions League? No one likes Liverpool.
I mean, I'm quite a loyal friend of Arsenal, and matches outside, I mean, matches not about Arsenal, I'm not really into that. And there is a question in front. I can pass you my microphone.
Why do you decide to live in Germany?
So yeah, I don't speak German, but I'm residing in Germany. It's all because there is a university in Germany. They got a research center over there, and I went there for research. I go there for research and also get some fundings as well. So they provide fundings and provide resources for me to do my research. That's why I spent this. I moved there from last December, and I will stay there until September to do my research. And of course, I embrace the experience of living abroad. And yeah, I enjoy that in my life in Germany as well, even though I don't speak that language.
What is your suggestion?谢谢 Mr. Quick. How do you suggest our students to have more concern and care about the news and the things happen? Because you write political issues, right? But all my students, they concerned about is later they have A tan, B tan, or C tan. What is the start point? I know they have stories, but how do you encourage them to start writing their story in Chinese?
First thing, how to know more about politics, or how to just how to get started with that. I would say I don't know, because I'm a little bit older than you, and I don't know if you guys use Facebook or not, or maybe just keep on using Instagram. I know it's an old debate, like only old people use Facebook, but I use Facebook a lot, and I read news over there, and then I don't know, maybe you just subscribe a few news agencies, and then you can just read different kinds of news, or just I'm not sure if you still watch televisions anymore, but just go on, see the news, and that would be the starting point. But after you start watching those news, you will have some thoughts, and if you have those thoughts, just share about it, no matter what language it is in, and write them, talk about them. Yeah.
What are your views on the new proposed extradition laws with Taiwan?
Yeah, I mean, it's very technical, so obviously your students are quite into Hong Kong politics.
Only one.
That's good. I mean, obviously, I would say, I don't know, I would say, yeah, it's getting serious, I mean, the topics, but yeah, I mean, Hong Kong is about one country, two system, and I think that as long as we keep that in mind, we really know the words of the basic law, as those officials always repeating. It's about having our autonomy, and that would be important if we can preserve that. Yeah, it's not about which kind of policy or anything, because there would be on and on debates. Even after this law, there would be another thing. But maybe we can just stick with the basic law. When the basic law does preserve Hong Kong certain kind of autonomy. Yeah.
What do you think is the hardest subject in local school?
Sorry, can you repeat your questions?
What do you think is the hardest subject in local school?
Hardest subjects.
Hardest subject.
Yeah. In local school, so it's my school, right? I mean, so it's quite a while ago. I would have to recall. I would say those science subjects. You know, I am a science student when I was back in secondary school. So by that time, I had to do the third level examinations as well as the A-level examinations, and they're all being abolished. But I was a science student, and even nowadays, maybe it's on that article as well that you have read. I always dreamed about, I was sitting in the examination hall and then doing the chemistry examinations or physics examinations. And I don't know, I hate those fee can buy subjects. And those are the most difficult for me. But obviously, it depends on which which kind of person you are. If you are a very scientific one, then you will enjoy that, but I'm not. Book-based movie, okay. I think that would be quite a lot, but I have to think about that. You know, I'm just Chinese even, okay. I'm not sure, but I enjoy the experience of after watching the film, you go back to the original book, and you will always find out there's a great discrepancy over there. And I don't know if you, because I don't know those movies are suitable for students, even though they're not like over 18. But just take an example like Call Me by Your Name, and you know the theme stories. is a little bit different from the original book. And you will always find that discrepancy over there. But that is not good or bad, just different kinds of ways to tackle or to analyze the stories. Yeah.
Do you watch anime?
Good job.
Do I watch? What? Iron Man.
Anime.
Pardon, I really can. Endgame. Endgame, okay. Yeah, I watched that. Are you talking about Endgame? What is asking? Oh, anime. Anime. When I was your age, I think I did. But now, not much, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, guys, you are all going to be bilingual. You know, after grade 12, you graduate from ICS. A lot of you is going to go overseas for college. So I'm going to ask a question. So what is the pros and cons to being a bilingual student or just a person when you live in overseas?
You know, I do my studies in Hong Kong until my. I do it until my bachelor degree. After my bachelor degree, I moved to UK to do my postgraduate studies. So I'm quite an authentic Hong Kong student speaking Cantonese all the time. And then I moved to UK, so students are coming around the world. Most of the time I speak English, and then some of them may be coming from mainland or maybe in Malaysia, in Taiwan. And now I do Taiwan politics, that's why I meet a lot of Taiwan students. So I have to switch in between Mandarin, English, and Cantonese. And I think the most difficult thing for me would be how to switch those language. Especially I always, switch the wrong channel when I was talking to them. If I have the left-hand side, I have to talk about Mandarin, the right-hand side, I have to talk about English. I would just switch that. Just mix them around. Yeah. But of course, it's always good to at least speak those two languages. When you are outside Hong Kong, or even nowadays in Hong Kong, you have to speak English and Chinese well. But Cantonese is important as well, I would say. Yeah.
Are you aware that you kind of look like Henry Lau?
Where are you? I'm sorry.
Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Are you
repeat it?
aware that you kind of look like Henry Lau?
Henry Lau?
谁来的？
Oh, it's
我不认识。
musicians. Yeah. I'm not so familiar with soloists, I would say, I confess that. But I know more about those conductors. Yeah.
What was your biggest inspiration to start writing?
It changed from time to time. When I was young, just start writing, obviously, those political issues, those just and unjust questions, very big debate would be the first driving force. But now I seldom write about politics. It's all because I'm researching on it. I want to separate my researching life and also my writing life. So I enjoy writing my little stories that I encounter in my daily life, no matter it's in concert halls, in football stadium, even in restaurants. I enjoy doing that. And those little stories would be my biggest motivations now. And of course, they are based on the reading that I do.
Who's your favorite author?
Favorite author? I would say, obviously not. This is the first time I was being called a writer. There are quite a lot, and some of them, most of them, maybe they're coming from very Hong Kong background. But I really read quite broadly. sometimes they're very technical, theory-based books, and I would say I really not enjoy reading them, or I would not say I like those authors, because actually they're scholars and they write very hard stuff. But you mean the favorite writers? I like Wayman Crawford and Murakami as well. I mean, for English books, at least you can read them in English.
What do you hope to achieve with your writing?
I've never thought about that. I mean, before, because I say the first thing was the money. When I realized that writing can earn me money, and the second thing would be the being recognized, because when you saw your name on newspaper, especially when I failed my composition assignments, and at the same time I saw my name on newspaper, being published, my article being published. That was a very good experience. I would just enjoy seeing my names over there. I would just want to keep on seeing my names over there. So when I was young, I wanted to be a regular columnist. And now I am, and then I publish a book. And then the second step, or the next step, I don't know, maybe the next book, or I don't know. This is the current problem of myself as well, just to search the next motive or the next goal to achieve.
How tall are you?
It's around like 6 foot something, 6'1", 6'1", yeah.
What's your favorite genre of writing? What's your favorite genre of writing? What's your favorite genre of writing?
You mean the genre, right?
Yeah.
Normally I write two different genres. One would be very technical, academic writings, which I hate a lot, but I have to do that because somehow I am an academic, but I don't enjoy that. But the second one would be just those short essays. Just talk about nitty-gritty things. Yeah.
What other hobbies do you have besides writing?
I would say my writings reflect my hobbies. So they're football, classical music, eating delicious food, reading. And actually writing is just a way to gather my thoughts from my hobbies. So
how do you make writing about your daily events enjoyable to other people?
The first thing would be like when you write, you know that you are writing to your readers. And to me, I never know who my readers are, but they are all around, at least in Hong Kong, I guess. So that's quite interesting. I mean, you know there are someone reading your works, but even you don't really know who they are. So that is one thing. I mean, I'm writing for someone who are reading my works. And the second thing would be if you got so many hobbies like me, and then you will have a lot of thoughts. And writing is just a way for me to express them, to talk about it with others. And I think that's, even without the readers, writing is a way for me to gather the ideas, just to clear my mind, to know what I learned or even what I enjoyed most in those experiences. So it's like two sides. The first one would be the public place. You are facing the public. And the second thing, you are facing yourself as well. 我有时间会 我有时间会做什么？我有时间的话我是要用国语回答吗？是普通话回答吗？
都可以，
都可以
因为呢，同学们现在也差不多 last question。
OK。没有，我还没有回答他的问题啊，不好意思。因为当然有啊，因为我是一个研究生，然后研究生的 work 的生活就是很多时间啊。那关键就是我怎么样用我的时间。当然大部分时间我要做研究，我要做我的平常要做的事情，写作啊、看书啊。那其他时间就 surfing the internet, see news about Arsenal, and that's my life. Yeah.
OK， 同学们 ，Thank you for coming, and then thank you Tommy for his sharing. And yeah, we have something for a souvenir for Tommy. So Mrs. Hall, would you please come to present a souvenir for Tommy? Thank you. Okay, yeah, take a picture. Yeah, over there. Okay, thank you very much, Tommy. Thank you, middle school and the 老师。OK， 谢谢老师们的帮忙，这次谢谢你们的支持和祷告，谢谢同学们。我知道你们还有很多问题，我会把你的问题交给 Tommy 的。